Hello and welcome to Missle Industries BMW E30 LS swap project. This will be episode 3, and in this episode I'm going to unbox the Sump conversion kit to fit this LS1 motor into my E30 and then stick the Sump onto this motor. Hopefully it goes through without any dramas. I've got enough Loctite to complete the job, so hopefully everything works out. I did do some window shopping for sump pan parts, and I did establish that if I just got this Aeroflow sump pan, I was reasonably confident that it would fit, and all I'd have to do after that is buy a whole bunch of hose fittings and brackets and joiners and figure out where to put my remote oil filler. Or I could have bought a kit from a BMW mob down in Sydney that specialise in BMW engine conversions. They've done quite a few LS engine conversions, so they've got quite a few LS based performance kits available. So I grabbed their kit because after I crunched the numbers, I think I was going to save about $50, and there were no guarantees that the pan that I bought was going to do the job that I wanted it to do, whereas if I bought this one, it guaranteed that it was going to fit. This is just a generic Aeroflow front sump pan, and as you can see it has internal baffling, and it came with a sump pan baffle, came with the pickup for the front sump. That's good. Also came with the dipstick conversion kit, sump gasket, a remote oil filler or filter, housing all of the fittings to fit it all together, and all the nuts and bolts. So quite a lot of stuff to find a home for, but theoretically it should be all I need to do the sump conversion for this LS motor. Close up view of the sump, you can see it's got internal baffles to keep the oil from all ending up on one side of the sump through long turns. That's a good thing. So there'll always be oil around the pickup. It's an important thing for your track car, to keep oil up to the engine. First drama, these two holes here do not line up, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of creative fabrication. Look at the state of this sump pan. 266,000 Ks, and I've got to say, they weren't very strict with the oil changes. Whew. I was somewhat puzzled to find there was a hole in the sump pan just here for another bolt, and there's a hole in the gasket as well, but there's no hole in the block. So I was a bit flummoxed about that. I was going, is this sump pan out of alignment? But the gasket matches up as well, and that's the GM gasket. So I look over here to the grubby old pan, and it's the same deal with the factory pan. There is a hole for the gasket, no hole in the factory pan between there and there, so should be all good then. Summary time for episode 3 of my Missle Industries BMW E30 LS project. The Aeroflow sump is on. There's a little bit of ginning around to get it to work, and it was pretty horrific how grubby the engine was on the inside. Hopefully it doesn't run a bearing within the first year of ownership, but if it does, 6 litre engine time. I should also add that it's 5 PM, it's time for a cup of coffee and to get out of this hot tin shed. The rain's just starting to come down, so the humidity is only going to get worse. This car's got a quarter of a tank of fuel in it. Seems like a waste to just let that fuel just sit there in the tank until the car gets dragged to scrap. So I'm going to tap that fuel and it's going to end up in my Falcon. As we can see here, the battery has been rigged up with jumper cables to supply the earth to the body. And I have used some crocodile clips to access the violet wire in the footwell, which is the live feed for the fuel pump. Now the fuel pump is working to drain that tank dry before it leaves this property. Doesn't sound like there's much fuel left in it. Maybe less than 10 litres.